When we combine all these efforts, it will create an Africa where women are not participants, but drivers for development.
Let's be patient when things are not going well, and let's never lose the confidence we had, but let's hold each other's hands. We're going to be unstoppable.
Always envision what you want to build. As long as you believe in that vision, you will overcome.
The journey of leadership can only be sustained when we all support each other.
Hello and welcome to another episode of State of Africa. I'm Jeff Morte. Now, across the African continent, a new generation is rising, bold, creative, and determined to shape a more inclusive future. And nowhere was this spirit more visible than at the Baobab Summit 2025, a gathering of the MasterCard Foundation Scholars Program community, alumni, and partners held this year in Nairobi, Kenya. The theme, Baobab Rising, nurturing the future through Africa's youth. This captures the essence of the moment, a time to celebrate resilience, deepen collaboration, and reaffirm the Foundation's commitment to unlocking opportunity through education and dignified work. In this episode, we sit down for a powerful conversation with leaders who are shaping that very vision. From the MasterCard Foundation, Rita Roy, the President and CEO, Shukri Ahmed, a program partner, and Joseph Munyabanza, the Scholars Program Consultant. We also had Dorcas Sapor from Comfort Ghana. Together, they explore what it means to invest in Africa's young people and how education can transform not just individual lives, but entire communities.
And Dorcas, I'm going to start right with you. So you are a two-time MasterCard Foundation Scholar. You've had a journey from northern Ghana to the world. You've created an incredible social enterprise that is changing the lives of women. I don't know how many women now, but I know it's in the hundreds. You started so modestly, but now you're exporting gorgeous baskets which carry both the artistry, the talent, the skills, the stories, the love of women. Just want you to share a little bit about that journey when you look back, but also look ahead. Look ahead and tell us what you expect, what you hope for, but really what you expect from us, from all of us, but really what you'd like to see. So over to you.
My journey started in 2014. And so there are three factors that has helped me to translate my dreams into what we are doing today. The first one is high unemployment among women in my community. And the second one is through my research work program. And finally, the MasterCard Foundation value of giving back to your community. Now, let me highlight this further. I grew up from a very underserved community in the Upper East region, where I saw how women struggle to provide daily meals for their kids. And my mom was a perfect example. My mom could go all along with just to provide food for us. Then, along the way, I got the opportunity to participate at the Changemakers Congress organized by Comfort, where I got to meet young entrepreneurs, and I could feel and see the innovative solutions that they were providing and impacting lives in their communities. Then I said, Dorcas, what are you waiting for? Start with what you have. So that was where I started ASIGE. And so at ASIGE, we empower women to produce sustainable products for the global market. On the part of partnerships, I would also recommend that African women who are experienced and doing well in entrepreneurship to partner with young women who want to go into entrepreneurship so that this will create a platform for shared learning, leadership, and growth. And finally, I would like to recommend and suggest to governments all over Africa that they should foster public public-private partnerships with women-led businesses. This would give women motivation to dream big. And I believe when we combine all these efforts, it will create an Africa where women are not failures, where women are not participants, but drivers for development.
Joseph, I'm going to come to you. You know, your story is well known now because of so many awards, which were so well deserved, that you have received over the years. I also know that you are a passionate advocate for education, and you have many, many ideas for education. So I'm going to ask you for a moment, as you reflect on the journey you've been on, and even the part through which, with our foundation, what you would recommend is pivotal in a journey of transformation, personal transformation, in order for broader transformation to occur. So that's one. And then I'd also ask you to think what it is we at the foundation, give us some advice, need to ensure we retain and never change, which is so integral to ensuring more and more young people have also the opportunity to create impact.
It started when I was 6 years old, you know, when my family was forced to flee to Uganda from the Democratic Republic of Congo. And for the first 7 years, I went to primary school in the refugee camp, walking to school, no shoes, and for most of that time, no uniform. And, you know, when you leave your home, you go to a refugee camp, the first thing you're looking for is safety. But as a young child, now I started thinking of how much longer is this pain and hopelessness going to be. So I started with the conviction that education was the only way, but I didn't know how I was going to earn that education. But through the hard work, when I completed my primary school, I was able to gain a scholarship. So I went to town. So for the first time after 7 years, I left the refugee camp and I started studying with other kids from good families who would say, I want to be a teacher, and you can see they believe that they're going to be a teacher, a doctor, or anything. And I shared with them that conviction now with the support I was getting. But every time when you sit with the young people who comes from other community, you remember many other young people from your community. And in my second year of secondary school, there are a few other refugee students who had gone from the refugee camp who were studying in that same town. And we started thinking of what we can do. So we set up a tutoring program back in the refugee camp where every holidays we really spent most of our time inspiring, encouraging other kids to believe in themselves. My belief is that we have the potential to do anything. And we believe that whether it's helping a refugee child, whether it's helping a young woman, whether it's helping a young person with disability, to do it well. And you've trusted us. All our scholarship cost a lot of money. We go to great schools, we get all the support, and our goal is to do the same for Africa. And CIOTA is doing that, and we have over 100 students who have finished university through the Mastercard Foundation, and I'm really excited to say that about 95% they go back. So if you go back to some of these refugee camps, the program started, they are concentrated with the talent. So you'll see a program in a hard-to-reach places, and then you see the quality, it's because of the foundation product.
Shukri, you've obviously been a scholar, you're an alumnus, you are deeply committed to policy shifts that you want to see in the world, which comes a lot out of your own life experience. So I'd like you just take a moment to share how you see things as you reflect on your own journey. What has been pivotal for you? What has touched you the most or propelled you the most? And you know, when you think about what that is, how has it then translated and shaped you to become the change maker that you are?
For me, Mastercard Foundation values are humility, kindness and respect, listening, co-creation and impact. has profoundly shaped me who I am as a leader today, as I serve every day, as I serve young people. And those values guided me and still continue to inform my leadership journey. Even before I went to apply to the university, I came from a country, Somalia, where most of the time the scholarships I interested were not included. So for me, inclusion was at the top of my mind. So when I went to the website of the MasterCard Foundation Scholars Program to see what this scholarship about, and I wasn't having a lot of hope, actually, that I will be included. So I went, checked, and it says it's open for everyone from Africa, sub-Saharan Africa. And I said, oh, my geography is right. Yes, yes. And then I could not believe it, but I went and I emailed the program, Scholars Program, MasterCard Foundation Scholars Program at AUB, and Maha. I don't want to put you on the spot, but I sent an email and I said, is this true? Have you had anybody from my country studying? And she said, yes, we even have one, but this year has been closed. You apply next year. And I waited and I applied. And I got in. And that is inclusion also in, how can I describe it? In practice. So for me, every time I am doing something, I'm working every day, inclusion is at the top of my mind.
You're watching State of Africa, where we explore the ideas shaping the continent's future. At the Baobab Summit 2025, that future is built on one belief, that when young Africans thrive, the whole continent moves forward. So, let's listen in on what the continent is saying.
I want to see an Africa that gives everyone, every child opportunity to have access to education, and regardless of, whether you are a person with disability and you are a woman, young girl or young boy, regardless of your family, economic status, everyone needs to have the opportunity to have access to education. That is the Africa that I would want to see.
I have the passion and the desire to see a world where there is more inclusion, and so I am hoping that I'll be able to also create opportunities where other people can access education beyond the financial status of their families or communities.
So education, just like the MasterCard Foundation's pillar, it's been able to expose me to the social and economic capital and empowerment in my area, and also individually, where I'm able to access opportunities like this, where I get to interact with my fellow leaders and just learn of more opportunities where I can shape myself as a leader.
Beyond the classroom, I would say that education has opened my eyes and my mind to what is possible. So the idea that you interact with other people that have different experiences and different backgrounds kind of reshapes what your narrative is. Some of us are born and we exist in certain boxes or certain spaces where your possibilities are limited. So getting to interact with other people that see things differently kind of is what education has reshaped my narrative.
Articulate, bold and clear. Voices from the Baobab Summit 2025. Welcome back to State of Africa, where we are focusing on nurturing Africa's next generation of transformative leaders. Now, before the break, we heard about the power of education and opportunity. In this next part of our conversation, we look at what it truly takes to turn learning into opportunity and how collaboration across sectors can create lasting impact for young people. Let's rejoin the conversation.
So, Rita, when you look back at the areas of the MasterCard Foundation and the birth of the MasterCard Foundation Scholars Program, what moments or stories stand out to you the most? And how have those experiences influenced the way the foundation continues to nurture leaders, service, and the culture of giving back today?
when we began, and even though it may sound like the foundation had a lot of resources, but really there were just 4 of us, and then there were 5 or 6 of us at the organization. And when you begin and you haven't done anything, you haven't demonstrated why anybody should trust you, you begin by listening. And when you listen, you learn things. You hear things, but you learn things. And I remember many stories of young people sharing about where they were, what they hoped for. I remember we went to northern Uganda, to Kitgum, listening to young girls in clubs who, I think there were 20 young girls in a very, very modest place. 18 of them were out of school, 4 of them were young mothers. And when we asked, what would you like to do? Everybody wanted to go back to school. And that story repeated itself so many ways. We were here in Kenya. I had an opportunity to go out to Western Kenya, to Migori, to meet young people. And so their stories have been everything. And that has been what has shaped our journey as a foundation, because it has informed us what matters to them, what they prioritize, and what they prioritize should be what we prioritize as an organization. And that's the starting point for the design of programs. It's the starting point for including many voices. Sometimes we don't do a great job, but we keep trying because we're also a human organization. And sometimes we make mistakes, but I think about all those stories all the time. And I think about the accountability of young people who say to me, "You've heard my story. I want to know, what are you going to do? What will you do about this?" And so I feel that sense of accountability. So it's been everything.
You have led the MasterCard Foundation through an incredible growth and transformation. What is that one thing that brought you joy? And has there been any moment that requires you to change your mindset on the way you lead?
There are many moments of joy, just as there were many moments of challenge. And I think about the greatest joy, of course, which is aside from the impact, which is right in front here in this room. This is the impact, and all the impact that you're creating. But I would say the most important thing and the most joyful, hopeful, loving thing has been about the people. And because it is people who bring joy, people who create impact, people who have ideas which have been such a privilege for us to get behind those ideas.
So Rita, we have talked about impact for the past 2 days. We have seen the impact of the MasterCard Foundation program, particularly Scholars Program, and we lived it. So as the foundation approaches 2 decades of impact, how do you envision the legacy, especially through the MasterCard Foundation Scholars Program? What do you hope for future generation will see about this community and its leader that you have contributed to build?
I'm so proud of this Scholars Program. I'm proud of all the young people from across Africa, who are young people from Latin America, the Middle East, young Syrians, young Palestinians, young people from Costa Rica, young people across who are part of this community. I feel like I'm already looking at impact. We've just heard stories of impact. And this impact, this life-changing event in the lives of individuals, in the lives of institutions, will go on, probably in directions we cannot even imagine. But what I would hope we will see as well, if you fast forward 5, 10, 15, 20 years, is that we will see many young people here, and whether you choose a life in public service, or whether you seek high office, or whether you choose to build something amazing because of an innovation and an idea that you have, whether you choose to become a teacher, whether you choose to be someone, I hope all of you are in service of something much larger than ourselves, much larger, because that was the original vision of this program. It was not about a scholarship. The scholarship is just the means. This program was really about transforming ourselves, transforming and contributing to the lives of others, but transforming the places where we are from, wherever that place may be, so that other people too have opportunities. So that's what I hope to see. To me, that is the true calling of leadership.
And I wanted to pause it. So Rita, you've answered part of this question, but it really comes from 3 of us plus 41,000 and more other students. And all together we are saying, you've given a hope and opportunity to millions of young Africans, including us in this room. And we know that has not been an easy journey. So when you look back, what has kept you inspired through it all? Are there some moments or particular story, personal experiences that have stayed with you, something that continues to remind you why this work matters?
The journey of leadership isn't about the glory, it isn't about the trappings, it isn't about what seems to be what people see, because what they see is a very superficial facade. The journey of leadership is hard, as you know, and it is not without setbacks and challenge, and as well as beautiful moments of deep satisfaction and accomplishment. But the journey of leadership can only be sustained when we all support each other and when we each encourage each other, even as much as we challenge each other, but we all come together. So I just want to say thank you for those who have encouraged us, supported us, challenged us, told us we could do better, but at the same time, were walking with us on the journey. So for me personally, that's kept me going. So we are going to places where those young people already are, and in other cases where we don't have a presence, work through our partners. So that is very much top of mind, particularly during these times. We have set targets for ourselves that 25% of young people coming through all of our programs would be young people who have been displaced because of incredible circumstances, or young people who are refugees. Shukri, would you add a few things?
Always envision what you want to build. And that was my mantra in life. Not that I ignore all the challenges I see, but always look at the head. What's the target for you and the goal you have? And as long as you believe in that vision, you will overcome. And that goes across. Thank you.
My name is Farai Munjoma. I'm from Zimbabwe, and I am the founder and CEO of the Shasha Network. We are on a mission to connect 50 million young people across Africa to soft skills and personal development for them to achieve their fullest potential. I am an Anzisha Fellow, an alumni of the African Leadership Academy, the African Leadership University, and of recent, the Mastercard Foundation Scholars Program at the University of Edinburgh. So to your question about what it means, what does it mean to represent Rita Roy at the World Bank Springs meetings? This is the highest platform anyone can ever have to address world leaders. I landed in Washington, D.C., and a little voice started coming in my head. Farai, these people are expecting Rita Roy. They're probably asking themselves, who's this guy that they've said? And I remember calling a friend of mine, and she said, when you get onto that podium, channel the youth. I thought about every particular Mastercard scholar that I spoke to. And my mission was to get on that podium and remind world leaders that African youth are not just beneficiaries. We are innovators, we are entrepreneurs, and we are builders. So, as I look at that particular moment, the idea that a young man from Zimbabwe who sold chickens in 2008 can fly into Washington, D.C., walk into the World Bank, and speak to world leaders, that is what radical trust looks like. And Africa needs radical trust.
Let's be patient when things are not going well, and let's never lose the confidence we had. If you manage to get into these great universities, if you are a refugee, you manage to finish high school, if you are a young person with disability or young woman in a harsh condition, but you still manage to finish, whatever you're going through now, you'll still go through it, and you'll do it well, but let's hold each other's hands. We're going to be unstoppable.
As the Baobab Summit 2025 drew to a close, one truth stood out. Africa's promise lies in its people, young, dynamic, and driven by purpose. Through initiatives like the MasterCard Foundation's Scholars Program, education becomes more than access to learning. It becomes a bridge to dignified livelihoods, innovation, and leadership. From the fireside reflections to the stories of resilience, the summit reminds us that Africa's youth are not waiting for the future. They are already building it. I'm Jeff Mote, and this has been State of Africa. Let's continue our conversation on all Aladi socials. Until next time, stay engaged, stay inspired.